Hi guys, welcome back to the Physics Central, and today I'm gonna teach you how to create a form just like this. And later on we are going to try to save the contents of this particular form in a database. But before anything else, please click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell down below to get updated whenever we post new videos like this. So let's go and try to create the basic HTML form that will eventually look like this when you browse it on the web. So here we are in the coding section or my um, Visual Studio Code, and we are trying to create an HTML. So we just use mf, alright, so the ability to do it automatically, alright. I don't know how you define that, but just press this and you will get basic HTML format that contains the heading, the body, and then the copy. Alright, so we can name this document as application. Alright, here, saying application. Alright, so we are going to use a form. So in the body tag, the first thing that you should do is to create or type the form tag. Alright, so form, and we are going to use the method, post method, and then we are going to send it into a PHP, wherein this PHP will actually do the processing of the data that we are going to encode inside this form, and then that PHP will pass it to the database. So we will actually send this or the information about this into the PHP called as PHP document, which is called as this one. I just copied the path because I've already prepared the PHP. So later on I will discuss it to you one by one. Alright, so here, picture PHP. So to correct this, we can actually remove these parts, so to make sure that the PHP will work properly. Alright, so let's go ahead and create an input text, or because if you're writing something, it must be a text or input options in our form. So I'm gonna put input. Alright, so and that is text, because let's say I want my clients to enter their name. Right, so because names are variable characters that can be composed of course, letters, and sometimes may contain suffixes like the third. So this is gonna say input text. Alright, so I'm gonna put a name. Alright, so I'm gonna give it a name like first name. Alright, so first, first name, and then ID. Well, we call it first name, so there's nothing wrong with that, because this ID will be used in targeting this particular element using JavaScript. Alright, and then this first name will be the name of the input field. Alright, so I want it to be always filled up, so I'm gonna write an attribute which is require. Alright, so and then a BR tag separates it into a new line. Alright, so BR tag. Alright, so this is the BR tag. And then let's see what it looks like on the web. Alright, or on the browser. So this is the form which will be our target, and right now we are creating the code for that. So once I hit refresh, the page should change. Alright, okay, so I think it's not saved. Alright, yes, it's not saved. So we save it. And then go back and then hit. Alright, so there is a box right there. So that box will be the text box, but we do not have any name for that, so we create a label. Alright, from the label, you can actually choose whether the label will be on top or at the bottom. But me, my preference is just going to put it on top. So I write in this inside the form above the input field that you created, you write label for, yeah, you type label and then hit this one, and then copy the ID, alright, so the first name, right, and then put it here, and then write first name inside this tag or in between this text. So you write first name. So there we go. And then let's see what it looks like on the web. Here we go. Yeah. So it's on the side. So we wanted to create it on top. So we write a BR tag. Alright. So we copy this and then put it after the closing tag of the label. Alright, so we save it, and then we hit refresh again and again, so that let's see. Yeah, so there you go. The form is gradually being made. Alright, so yeah, so you can actually change the display of this particular form using CSS, but I'm not gonna focus more on CSS, but rather on creating just the form. Alright, so let's go ahead and add some more input fields like last name, birthday, and so on and so forth. Alright, so say for example that we have all type of all, like for example the last name, the birthday, then the age, and then the city, and then the province, and then what else? The country has been typed already. Alright, so let's just because if I'm gonna do it one by one, it will take a lot of time. Alright, so for that I just got it and then paste it up here, and then let's see what happens. Alright, so here is our page, and then let's see if we can refresh, and then see how it looks like. Let's just check it. So on the birthday, so this one I already access a certain input field or input type called that's date, and then I set the maximum date and then the minimum date possible. Alright, so let's just get a quick recap on how this is done. Alright, so in this part, say birth date. Alright, so the input type is date, and then I put an ID, birth date, birth year rather, and then birth year here, and then the value is blank. Alright, so and then the minimum value that I want is 1948 January 1. Alright, so this new year 1948 and up to the present. Alright, so if you are older than 1948, you are not, you do miss a chance of getting hired. Alright, so and then, yeah, so this will change according to my decisions, so no one can question that. Alright, so eventually this one will change by and by according to my will or my decisions rather. So this will display a certain calendar wherein you can pick a date from 1948 to 2012. Alright, so beyond those scopes, entries are not allowed. Alright, so there's nothing so special with the age, so I just use the number or the input type as number, then I name it age, and then the ID is page. Alright, so I think I haven't made any TSS yet, so I can remove the PH. Alright. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. Then let's go ahead and create the major create a field wherein the teacher can actually um, select his major of specialization. Like for example, me or I, my mastery is on the subject physics. So how about others? Some are English teachers, some are math teachers, and I want to get those information from them, or those information from them. All right. So let's go ahead and create a select um, field. All right. So select field is something that contains the probable um, subject matter or options. And then they just have to select. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So we can actually write here select. Alright, so it will give you a selection. Alright, and then just a drop down thing. Alright, wherein you can choose something. So I'm gonna name it major, and then the ID is major. Alright, and this one, and then the name is major. Alright, so or you can put a label. Alright, so we will write label 4. So we're going to repeat the process over and over again until we finish all of this selection tag or selection input field. Alright, so let's say major. Alright, there we go. And then inside the select tag, we are going to put or create options. Alright, so here we go. We write option. Okay. This one. And then value. So whatever value you want. Let's say for example English. There we go. English, and put some sentiment. So that's English. And then we go ahead and check how this looks like in the browser. Alright, so English rather. There we go. And then hit save. And then hit plus. So once this works, I'm gonna paste. I'm just gonna paste every other options that I want to put in there. Then finally, we are going to create the submit button, and then go ahead and create the PHP for this, and then later on the database, and then later on we will try if the process is working. Alright, so there you go. Here it's English. Alright, so because we only have one choice. Alright, so I'm gonna put a BR tag somewhere right here and a required attribute so that it will always be filled whenever the what do you call this, applicant tries to fill it up. Alright, so let's try to paste some more options, like for example math, and then physics, and so on and so forth. So we paste it right here, and we go back to the form, and then let's see what happens. So we save, and then yeah, this is the previous version. Then we hit refresh, and then let's put like this and major, and then afterwards if you click on this drop down menu, you will see Gen Math, Physics, Biology, and Mathematics. So we go ahead and repeat the process, and then afterwards you create the submit button finally, and then try to do the PhD. All right, yeah, so the next thing that we do is the email. All right, so that is a special input type again. So you choose input type and then write there email. All right, and then the submit is also a different input tag because this is a specialized button that is always super global once we check it in the PHP. Then we hit save and then we go back to the page and then refresh so that we see how it looks like. Alright guys, so here it is. There you go. So that's how the form looks like. And then you can actually type this one. Okay. Or if you are if you sign in with Google, right? And then I hit the change the file location into my local host, right? So I can access the data on my email. Alright, so I want it to be put it in here, or you can fill it up manually. That one slash, right? That is one. So we'll refresh, and then if I hit my name, and then it will automatically fill up whatever information is on your email. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna pick a birthday. Alright, so that is how it works. Alright, like for example 1992. There we go, November. Okay. Then my birthday is coming up next. I hope you guys will subscribe as my birthday gift. Alright. So and then my age should be 28. Am I 28 or 29? Yeah. Anyways. Alright, hit submit and then yeah. So there you go, proceed to testing. So why it's been shown on the page? Because I already created what you call the PHP text that saves it on the database. So what I'm gonna do right now is to show you how it's done. Alright, so there is a basic relationship between the form and the PHP. Alright, so let's explore that. So I'm gonna go back to my form and then inspect the elements. Alright, so the particular reason or bridge between the PHP and your HTML form is this one. So this is the header, document header, where the form will be submitted. Alright, so if you do not put anything there, so the data will be sent on the same document. Alright, it will not be sent into the PHP. Alright, which process the data, right, from the form. So the method that I used is post. So if you do not put this one, then you're not able to get the data unless your PHP is within the same document. Alright, so since we do not create it in this document, created on a separate document, we need this header. Alright, so and then the fields are connected to a variable using the name. Alright, so this one. So input type text and then the name of the field is very important. You should not misspell how you spell it here. Alright. On the other side, on trying to access it using $_ post and then the name of this variable. Alright. So because if they are misspelled, you cannot access the data on the form. Alright, so we go ahead and check how it works in the PHP. Alright, so here, so I hope you guys are familiar with on how PHP works. Alright, so here we go. So you declare the tag, the opening tag, which is very important because if you remove this, it will not work. Alright, so save. So you see the color changes, and it's like the browser will tell you that I cannot read it. What type of thing is that? So by indicating this one, you'll be able to uh, dictate the browser or tell the browser that, hey, this is the PHP tag. Alright, so here we go. So I include the clear variable.php, which is a PHP that I want to make use to clear all the variables which has been previously sent into this PHP. Alright, so that there is no mistake. Alright, so here is, I'm gonna show you the clear variable.php. Alright, here we go. There we go. So yeah. So these things here are variables that will contain the information from this one. Alright, so it is a container, to be in the most simplest way. It's the container of the data. Alright, it will contain the data before it passes it on to the database. So I hope that is very clear to you. Now we go back here. So in this part, I just cleared everything. Alright, so I just removed everything. So it is an empty variable at this point. And then afterwards, it will go back to this document. And then the very first thing that you should do is to check if the submit button is clicked or is set. Alright, so you're going to use if this one is a function, if set is a function. So what variable or what button are you checking? What is the name of that button? And the name of that button is submit. So you go back to your code, and then I want to show you where it's at. So if this thing is clicked on the browser, it will trigger the command because it has been set. Because if it's not, so this action will not push through. Alright, so if the user clicks on the submit button and it is set, then session will start. Alright, so where is the why do we need this one? So because we need to remember, or the browser needs to remember, alright, that the session is starting. Alright, so it's a marker of when the session starts and when the session ends. So it's a marker thing. Alright, so I'm gonna get the data. So if that is submit, so all we have to do is to get the data. Alright, so last name, so this one, this is the name of this is the name of this field. Alright, last name, this one. And then first name is on. So you need to say, you have to get all the names of the field and then put it inside the PHP and then declare an equal sign. Alright, so this one, an equal sign to, and connect it to the variable, to the container. Alright, so $_post is a global, it's a super global, so you need to say you'll be able to access it anywhere. Alright, so that's how we use it. So we need to say, if it is posted, the form will contain the information on the field named as last name. And then that last name, so this is the form part. So this is from the form part. Alright, and then we wanted to input that. So this variable is equal to whatever is the content of that field. Alright, so whatever is the content of this field. Alright, so whatever is the content of this field will be pushed through and passed on to this one, picture last name. Alright, so let's say for example that everything is being uh, so everything has been collected, all right? So it's been stored temporarily in this variable. All we have to do is to create a connection to the database. And then session start, and then you have to use any variable that you want, all right? Or whatever variable you want to declare as a session variable. So that's it. So let's say, for example, that we have collected all the things that we want. All we have to do now is to create a connection to the database, or say create a database. Okay. First and foremost, we have to create a database wherein there will be the location where we save the data. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and open another document which I have already created called the SQL. Alright, so this is actually a lesson that incorporates HTML language, and then PHP language, and then MariaDB. So those three. Alright, and then I haven't included any JavaScript yet, but I will be in the future. Alright, so it comprises of three computer languages that makes it very useful in computer programming. Alright, so here we go. Here is my SQL. So I'm gonna open it using Visual Studio Code. Yeah, let's wait as we open it. So this particular line of code, let's say for example, we wanted to create a table, alright? Creating a table that contains the columns, alright? So the ID, which is my first column, the last name. So you can name whatever column you wanted for the data, alright? So it so happened that I just named it like that. So I just declared that I want the ID to be an integer. I haven't declared that it should be automatic, because if I did set it on automatic, there will be a lot of difficulty for me to manage it right now. But in the future, I'm gonna give it an attribute as automatic. Alright, so for now, I just use the integer. Right, and then the teacher name is Barker, and the number of characters allowed is 255, I think. Alright, and then so on and so forth. So I'm gonna copy this and proceed to my SQL, and then I'm gonna delete the current database, because this database has already been created. Alright, so that I'm gonna show you how SQL works. Alright, so we go to my PHP my admin, which is somewhere here. Alright, or if you do not know how to open it like that, you can alternatively use 127.0.0.1/phpMyAdmin. Alright, so there we go. So we'll open the same database. Alright, same thing. Wait for a while. Alright, there we go. And then this one is still loading. Alright, so here we go. I already created the table, and it's already in here. Right here. So on the table, so the name of the database is myYYT, and then I already created several tables, and then this is the table that we are putting. So I'm gonna click and then see and browse. Alright, so if the table has contents. Alright, there we go. So it's all mine. And then, yeah. So because I'm just submitting and submitting the same image. So this is just for validation purposes. Doesn't mean that it is not good. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete this, then create another table using the SQL code that I copied. Alright, so we go ahead, we go back to my YYT, and then delete the table and then create another one. Alright, so if you do not know where to get this database, I recommend yeah, I recommend you use SAMP, alright, and or WAMP, alright. But SAMP is a cross-platform, so whether you are an Apple user, a Linux user, I think no, it doesn't work with Linux because they have uh, their own system for practice purposes of web development. I think it's called LAMP. Alright, so we go and delete this. I'm gonna check this, then I'm gonna hit drop. When I drop the table, everything is done, and I am allowed now to create another table. Alright, so I'm gonna destroy that table, and then there you go, doesn't show anymore. Then I'm gonna click on my YYT, and I'm gonna click on my SQL. Alright, so when you click my SQL and paste the code right here, so you should be able to create another table. So we hit go, and then run, it became top scratch. Alright, so it became, yeah, so the table has been created. We're going to browse again my YYT, and then search for that particular table that we have created, and here we go. Yeah, and it will contain nothing. Alright, so this particular table will contain the future data that our users will type on the field or on the form. Alright, so how do we put those things here? It's through PHP. Alright, so we create a code that will say insert this document or insert this files on my database. So how do we gonna do that? So first, we have to create a connection between our PHP and this database. So we go ahead and create or say access, right, the connection, because I have already created it. Alright, so we can use it again and again. Here we go. I have opened the connection document. Alright, so in this particular document, you have to create the server name, alright, which is the local host. Or if you do not believe, alright, so you go ahead and check your database, and then on the user profiles, alright, so you will learn of your username. In my case, it's root, and you can actually design or create a password. Alright, in my case, I just use none. Alright, and then the DB name, which is my YYT. And then I'm gonna create another object. Alright, another variable, and then use my SQLi. I'm gonna connect. Alright, so this is sometimes called a DBH handler. Alright, so you declare the server name, right? So if the server name exists, alright, and you are an authorized user for that, and you have your password to open that database, and what database you are going to open. Alright, so this particular line of code contains all of those information. Alright, now here we go. So if so this one, if there is an error in connection, so this one wants to connect in the database using this information. Alright, which is prepared in here. Alright, so if there is an error in the connection, it will just echo connection failed. And then particular error that pops up. So this simple document or code will always, for me, in my case, it always works. So I guess creating this separately will save you time rather than typing it over and over again. So I'm just gonna use include. That makes it possible to access it in any database or in any PHP code that I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna write include connections.php in here. So if so this variable has been set, or if it has been the user click the submit button, right? That means it's set. So the processing starts. All right. So include connections.php. All right. So then I just repeat the last code in here. All right. So if there is an error, so you echo, the browser will tell you, oh no, there is something wrong. Right, so if there's nothing wrong, we wanted to create the insert statement. Right, so this line of code is actually an SQL. Alright, so this is an SQL up to this point. So that's an SQL. Now, how did it turn to be an SQL or a PHP code rather? So because of a query. Alright, so this one is actually a query. Alright, so it means to say you want, since it is a query, it's just like a question, it's just like a sorting thing. Alright, and then or a command. Alright, so the command is insert into features, which is the database that I showed you, and then this one, the things are the name of the columns where the documents or the data will be typed in or saved into. Alright, so now this values, alright, are the values you get from this one. Alright, so they are the values that will be put into. Alright, so just a moment. So think. Alright, so since the table are in order and the values that we wanted to input on the table are also in order, we can proceed. Right? So we ask if connected, and we were able to execute this query, alright, which is we wanted this value to be inserted into the columns, or alright, and that became true, alright. So it will echo proceed to test, alright. And then later on, we are going to try to browse the said database if it contains the data that we saved, or else error had occurred and it pertains to this query. Alright, so whatever is wrong in the query will be echoed out or will be printed out on the screen, and then please try again. Alright, and then afterwards, make sure that you close the connection, because if you do not close the connection, other hackers will attack your database. Alright, so you hit save. So I hope everything is clear to you. You can actually try these things. This is the process actually. So it's up to you how you build your code. So because there are a lot of ways of building a code, either object-oriented or MySQLi or procedural, or So there are a lot of variations. So build your code which is convenient for you and which is easier for you to understand. And that's my hint. Correct. So because there is no one way of understanding things, right? So you can actually create your own variation, just like cooking. Someone wants this kind of thing, someone wants the other. So this is my preferred way of coding. So I hope you guys learned something from it. So what I'm doing is the process. Alright, so if you like my coding, then that's a compliment to me. If you don't like, so I cannot do anything from that. So let's go back to the browser and try typing, or yeah, trying the same thing again, and then just submit it, and then you go back to the PHP my admin, check the database if it contains the data. If it does, then our mission is complete. All right. So I'm gonna go here, all right, and open the application form. So we wait for a while. There we go. And if you open it with Google, then the form is displayed. It's displayed. Got it. All right. So we're gonna write 127 that with that one. Then this one. So last name. So I'm gonna use autofill, and then the birthday. Just gonna take this one. Country is say 20. Alright, then say for example, my major is general mathematics, my sub major is physics, and then other major is English, and then I hit submit. Alright guys, I hope this works. Alright, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. Alright, let's proceed to testing. I need to say there's nothing wrong because no error has been echoed out. So now we check the database. Alright, so it's in my YYT, and it is located in here, feature statement. Alright, so upon clicking that, I hope it displays it. Alright, so I hope that. Alright, so there we go. Angeles Edgardo, major is general math. I live in Morong, then Bataan, and then Philippines, and then this address. So yeah, so something just happened here. Yeah, so so medyo babalik dito. So I'm gonna change this. Then after changing this, everything will be set. So the problem is, as it put on it's line of code. Alright. So month. So if I just change one. Alright, so CYR is the date, and then yeah. So yeah. So later on I will just check what should be contained here. So it's 1, 2, or 3, and then things will. Alright, so it's not a big problem. Okay, so that's it guys. It worked, and then that's how we do the form handling. Okay, basically that's a form handling. So from creating the form, into processing the form, and then to installing the form. Alright, so later on, I'm gonna teach you how to get the form or the data out of the database. Alright, so I hope you guys learned something from our tutorial, and please don't forget to click the subscribe button, alright, and hit the notification bell to get updated whenever we post new videos like this. Okay, so yeah, there we go. Click it right here. Click it right here. Okay, so yes, click it right here, and then don't forget to click the subscribe button right here, and then hit the notification bell. Alright, so to get updated whenever we post new videos. So we also have other accounts like Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, LinkedIn. yeah, LinkedIn, Blogspot, GitHub, SlideShare, and then back over here. Alright, so there's no reason for you not to learn coding. So I hope you guys learned something out of this episode. So it's me, Sir Ed, signing out. Bye-bye!